If you fail, do you lose hope? Do you forsake your past beliefs? Do you give in to others and do what they say is right? The Titan Prometheus would disagree, because this god never gives up on his ideals no matter how many times he fails. Like the humans he loves, he will fail, but he will get back up. He will try over and over again because that is what one does to protect those they care for. Yet can this willpower and conviction stand up to the ultimate power of one who has lost said hope? That is what round 2 of Record of Ragnarok Apocalypse of the Gods explores, and what we shall explore today. So if you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell. Anyway, on with the video. Prometheus' first appearance occurs after the conclusion of round 1. After collapsing on the floor, Cuchulainn was on death's door, but luckily Prometheus was there to lend a hand. And while considering right before this, it was explained to us that no gods in the arena showed Cuchulainn any praise or respect, all instead exhibiting hatred, anger or fear. Having Prometheus not only be friendly, but to have actively helped Cuchulainn instantly makes him stand out from the other gods. And the reason he helped Cuchulainn is because he considers them to share a goal. They are both those who rebelled against the ways of the gods. You see, Prometheus was the first outer gods. He betrayed the gods and gave fire to mankind. Unlike most of the gods who reside above mankind as divine beings should, he instead aims to help and support mankind. This is why he is fighting in this apocalypse, because what he seeks to do is save humanity once again. Given all this, it's not that surprising that he is friends with Heracles, the god who is fighting in Ragnarok for the very same reason, to save humanity. Both have the same goal, but even so, they differ. Whereas Heracles never regrets his actions, Prometheus dwells on his failures. Heracles moves forward without hesitation towards the path he believes is right. However, Prometheus, despite believing in the same right path, messes up his approach every time. Heracles knows what to do, but Prometheus does not. And maybe this is why Prometheus loves humanity so much, because they, like him, make mistakes. They aren't perfect like the gods, they struggle and persevere. Even when they fall down, they get back up. As Heracles says, even in the midst of his confusion and anguish, Prometheus always ends up doing the right thing. That's the kind of man he is. Even if they take different paths, they are heading in the same direction. Even if they are different, they both take on a great burden, endure a great pain in order to fight for what is right. And for such a reason, they are friends. However, despite his past failures and his fear over his approach, Prometheus in this fight resolved to not hesitate to fight just like his friend Heracles. His giving of fire to humanity may have led to war, weapons and the destruction of nature, but he frankly does not care. Those are just mistakes needed in order to progress. He no longer regrets or hesitates. He will not bend his knee to the gods and rescind his past actions. He will not strike the hammer down on the humans, instead he will fight for their sakes. He will take on any punishment in their place in order to save them. Much like Cuchulainn before him, he stands opposed to the very nature of the gods. He doesn't wish to be better than others. He doesn't want to take pleasure in divinity. No fighting to be the strongest or for any selfish desires at all. Instead, he is fighting for others. His opponent in some respects is quite similar, also one who forsakes the ways of the gods but in a very different way. Sun Wukong, one who reached the pinnacle of power among the gods, but even so was left unfulfilled. As Zeus says, as a god, he is nothing special, but in power he is mighty. And so in this fight, to prove his resolve towards his new mindset, Prometheus does not hesitate at all. No, he attacks before the bell is even rang. He makes Sun Wukong experience a pain he never felt before, one so great no one could ever even imagine it. This here is a taste of the pain Prometheus has always endured for the sake of his own conviction, and with great ease he pummels the great sage equal to the heavens straight into the ground, as if to challenge the very heavens themselves and prove his power alone is enough to oppose it. As we learn in his backstory, Prometheus committed two great crimes. First, he betrayed his fellow titans to side with Zeus, and secondly, he gave fire to humanity, and because of this he was punished. Put into a steel cage and beaten senselessly for the entertainment of the titans he'd betrayed for thousands of years. However, he wasn't here against his will. No, he chose to remain here. The chains that bound him were specially requested of Zeus. chains that amplified the pain he felt in order to put him through constant pain and torment. But why did he do this, willingly endure thousands of years of beatings, all while wearing chains that amplified the pain he felt? Because he wanted to atone. He was focused on the past, onto his mistakes, and so this was the result. His unhealthy mindset of dwelling on the past instead of thinking about what to do next is what kept him here. But that's when he met Heracles, a god in training who rocked up, took one look at the place and said, "This won't do, this is not justice." Heracles made up his mind, what was right, and acted on it without hesitation. He showed Prometheus what true justice is, acting on what is right no matter what, and this inspired Prometheus to stand up and face the future instead of dwelling on the past. Rotting in this prison was not going to fix his past mistakes, it wouldn't accomplish anything. As Heracles says, even though the gods should be on the right path, they are not, and so he must correct their ways too. Like Prometheus, Heracles stands against the gods not for his own sake, but for justice, for good. And so this inspiration made Prometheus stand up and fight. He was always too passive in his ways, thinking enduring pain would fix anything. It's all good taking on the burden, but if that burden doesn't accomplish anything, then you are just suffering for nothing. Prometheus always was working towards the right thing, but he needed a guiding light to show him the right way to go about it. His absolute mental fortitude allows him to stick to his ideals no matter what is thrown at him, but enduring alone will not solve anything, and that's why he is fighting here in this tournament. But the thing about this tournament is that it is not the measure of a god, just their strength. The strongest is not the most righteous, it is just that, the strongest. With only one attack, Sun Wukong ended the fight and destroyed Prometheus' body, but even so the Titan still stood back up, because he loves humanity. After the defeat of Kronos, Zeus put Prometheus in charge of humanity. As the gods do, Zeus had no time for the humans, and as such Prometheus, who had time to spare, was sent down to observe them. The Titan thought humans were made in God's image, but that couldn't be further from the truth. They were cowardly. They were fragile. They were short-sighted. They were weak. But most importantly, unlike the gods, they were pure. He loved humanity because of that purity and because of their flaws, because unlike the gods they could change and become better. But Sun Wukong disagreed. To the Monkey King, humans cannot be saved. No matter how many times the gods reach out to them, or love them, it never works. Now, we are yet to understand the details of Sun Wukong's journey, and why it made him become disillusioned with humanity, but the point is he did come to this conclusion, that his own efforts never changed anything. Sun Wukong tried and failed, but guess what? So did Prometheus. Even though he tried more times than the Monkey King, should have had even more reason to forsake mankind, Prometheus didn't give up. Both of them faced the same struggles, but one gave up and the other kept going. And why? What is the difference between them? Well, when Sun Wukong says, saving humanity, and then what? And then nothing. Prometheus replies, what reason do you need to save your friends? In that respect, Prometheus had the Monkey King beat, because nothing could make him lose faith in justice or forsake his friends. He never bent a knee to the gods and their ways, he remained upholding his own beliefs to the very end, hence why he passed out still standing. He stood tall even after defeat, because defeat is not the end, it's just something to get back up from, another mistake to learn and grow from. And although this may be speculation, I imagine the one to learn something in this fight will be Sun Wukong, and in his next fight against Cuchulainn, he will have a change of heart, either in his approach to humanity, or the faith one needs in upholding their ideals. Heck, he may even regain the passion that he seems to have lost. But even if he lost, Prometheus' ideals and his desire for justice has not, and he will try again and again to save humanity because a man never gives up on their friends. And if you want to support this channel even further, then perhaps pledge to my Patreon, or consider becoming a channel member, so you can get your name at the end of the video like Rinjack9696, Mr. Sputum, Marimo, Jack Hammer, Zolby and Eric Hinton.